I won. Antares is gone. The war between the monarchs and the rulers is over. But this victory feels hollow. The world lies in ruins, cities destroyed, countless innocent lives erased. I am the Shadow Monarch. I command an army that covers the battlefield like night itself. Yet even with all this power, I cannot bring the dead back. Then the rulers offered me a choice. The Cup of Reincarnation, an artifact capable of turning back time, resetting the world to before the devastation began. But there is a price. If I use it, everyone will forget this war. All the sacrifices will be erased from their memories, and I will be the only one who remembers it all. I stand amidst the destruction of the world. The shadows of my soldiers stand silently behind me. They wait for me. As always, as their king, the decision is mine. I can choose a world that worships me as a hero, or a world that never knows I saved it. I choose the latter, because this isn't about recognition. This is about a second chance. When I opened my eyes, the sky was blue again. Buildings stood untouched. The air was clean. No gates, no monsters, no monarchs. The war never happened. Everyone lives as usual. My mother smiled and my sister laughed. They had no idea how close they once came to death. Only I remember the screams and the flames. The name Antares, the Dragon King, my greatest enemy. Now there is silence. But peace like this is fragile, because the monarchs would rise again, and this time, I would end it before the world ever noticed. Years passed. I fought them in another dimension, in a space untouched by human time. Every swing of my sword was a burden of memories I couldn't share. Every shadow that arose was proof that I was never truly alone. Yet beneath that limitless army, I was still human. A man who only wanted his family to live in peace. I can still feel that pressure. The sky shattered beneath the wings of the Dragon of Destruction. The image of me fighting countless dragon armies. Antares wasn't just an enemy. He was the end of everything, and in that battle, I nearly lost. If not for the intervention of the rulers, perhaps the world would have ended then and there. But victory wasn't salvation, because that war never truly ended. As long as the monarchs remained, as long as their power remained, the world would continue to be threatened, and that's why I chose to return. After the time turned back, the monarchs were still there. They didn't attack this world again, because I didn't give them the chance. I hunted them down, one by one, without cameras, without heroic honors, without witnesses, just me and my shadow. This war never went down in history. No one knew the world was saved again, and I didn't need recognition. I just need results. Years passed. I fought them in another dimension, in a space untouched by human time. Every swing of my sword was a burden of memories I couldn't share. Every shadow that arose was proof that I was never truly alone. Yet beneath that limitless army, I was still human. A man who only wanted his family to live in peace. There are nights when I stand alone, staring at the sky that no longer cracks. I ask myself, is this right? Do I have the right to decide the fate of the world? Turning back time, erasing that great war as if it never happened, erasing the sacrifices, erasing the wounds, erasing the history that only I remember. But every time that doubt arises, I remember my mother's face. Her face finally able to smile without fear, without the shadow of illness, without a world on the verge of collapse. And I know, I will choose the same thing, again and again. Because if the price of this peace is loneliness, then let me bear it. If one day they look up at the night sky without knowing how fragile this world once was, then that means I succeeded. So when that doubt comes again, when the silence feels too heavy, I need only remember one thing. I am not fighting to be remembered. I am not fighting to be praised. I fight so they don't have to. The war has ended, not with cheers, not with monuments, but with silence. The world moves on, never knowing how fragile it once was. and I walk among them, as a human, as an invisible protector. As someone who chose to bear all those memories alone, I am the Shadow King. But in this world, I am simply Sung Jin-Woo, a student, a child, an older brother. The world no longer needs the Shadow King, and for the first time, I can relinquish that title. Not because I am weak, but because I have completed my duty. I feel at peace. My shadows are still with me, loyal as always, but now they are no longer symbols of war. They are a reminder that there was once a world that nearly fell apart, and that a second chance is the greatest gift. If I had it to do over again, I would still choose the same path, because being the Shadow King isn't about power, it's about responsibility. My shadows are no longer mere soldiers. They are silent witnesses to my choices. They are part of me, and I am part of them. To be the only ones who remember, to be the only ones who fight in the darkness, so that the world can live in the light. Now there is no more great war, no more world burning, just life going on as it should. And this time, I don't stand as a hero, I don't stand as a legend, and I will continue to watch from the shadows, because I choose to protect the world in silence.